Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about the topic of getting good grades in college, but of course, the easiest way to do it because I'm lazy, you're lazy. We need the easiest way to go through college and also get good grades. So first, a little bit of uh, information background about myself, why I am talking about this topic. Of course, I used to be in college. I did university. I did a master's degree. I studied economics and I did a master's degree in marketing. I was not the best student, so I'm not the one to share to talk about maybe being a perfect student, but for sure, I know that at least in my class, I was the student which improved the most. So I used to have just average or even above average grades, and I become top. I started getting top grades, even full points in tests. Uh, and in this video, I will show you the easiest way to do this, how I have done this. I hope that it helps a lot of people, especially the ones which are not in the good place or are stressed about getting good grades or even passing exams, because this is the easiest way that I found to get the good grades in college. I am going to share a couple of tips, but they center around about the same thing. And so I'm going to get started with my first tip, which is the most important, is to take notes in class. So always go to class, always, and always take notes on everything is done in class. Why is this important? This is extremely important because you will read your notes later and you will study your notes. And uh, spoken language is easier than textbook language. You will get bored with reading the long textbooks. If you take notes in class, it's a lot of easier. It's easier to study the spoken language, only your notes. Even when your classmates talk or say something in class, write that down. Write down everything that you hear in class. With experience, you will start um, writing faster or more efficiently. Sometimes even write, if you have time and in the empty space, you can fill your notes, write also your uh, opinion maybe about them or how you see it, how you can connect the parts, I mean. Keep notes in bullet points. So I only write my notes in bullet points. Uh, every 2 to 3 minutes in class should be a new bullet point so that you will know how much time the teacher, the professor dedicated to each topic. For example, if I take notes and every 2 to 3 minutes is a new bullet point, I will know that if about a certain topics there are 5 bullet points, let's say, I will know that the professor spent about 30 minutes or 15 minutes on that topic, and on the test, write accordingly. There are some parts on the textbook that are really long if you spend time reading that, but the professor dedicated just little time to them. So it's important that to write in bullet points, and bullet points represent chunks of time. One bullet point in my system is 2 to 3 minutes in class. This way, so you will know how much time the professor dedicated to each topic. Also, after each bullet point, underline a keyword or key phrase. After you have written the notes, just maybe will be just 2 sentences or just points that you keep notes, underline a keyword for each bullet point topic. After just immediately after you write that topic bullet point for 2 to 3 minutes. This will also keep your attention while taking notes. And another tip is to always take notes, even if you don't understand the subject. Just write what you hear, even if you fully don't understand it. Sometimes some information we learn by heart. It's not that always we understand everything as students, but some parts are just by heart or by intuition. If, for example, you have multiple choice questions about a topic that you didn't fully understand, you have an idea, your intuition says that uh, one of them is the right choice, and often your intuition is right and this is often because you have written that information in your notes, even if you didn't fully understand it, and you give the right answer on the test. Also, sometimes these help something that you don't fully understand, you will understand it later with the later information on that lecture. Then, so after during the semester, the only thing that you have to do is taking notes. You can also do the papers or the material, write them based on your notes. This is the time that you will read your notes. But when the time comes for the test, you will need to study those notes. And as I like things easy, when I was a student, I would study only the notes, no textbook. I didn't need the textbooks. I bought them most of the time because my parents bought them for me, but I sometimes checked the structure of the textbook. I liked seeing the structure, the topics that are included, but I studied only the notes and didn't read the textbooks. Second part of this video is about how to study for the tests. To study for the tests, you will divide the material into 4 parts and start studying 5 days before the test. Or if the test is later later in the day, you can include the test day for studying. So divide the material you have to study in 4 parts. For example, if you have to study 10 chapters, day 1, study chapter, for example, 1 to 3, day 2, 4 and 5, day 3, chapters 6, 7, 8, and day 4, chapters 9 and 10. And the day 5 is only for repeating all the information that you have studied the days before. So, 5 days before the test is day 1. You will just study the chapters 1 to 3. For example, the first chunk, 1/4 of your study materials, what will be included in the test. On the day 2, repeat what you studied on the day 1, and also study the parts assigned to day 2. On day 3, repeat what you studied on day 1 and 2, and also study the uh, other part which is assigned to day 3. On day 4, do the same, repeat what you've studied the previous days, and study the chapters, the last chapters assigned for day 4. Then on day 5, just repeat everything, and if you have anything left, is if you were not on schedule with this program, study anything which is left, if anything was left. With this system, at the maximum, you will need to study 4 hours a day. The first day, for example, you will just need 2 hours to study, because you will repeat the old material and studying the new chapters, you will add half an hour every day. But even for day 4 or 5, the maximum will be 4 hours a day. Then you can do whatever you like, and of course you need your sleep as a student before a test, and be in good shape and condition, of course, and go to the test prepared but also calm and fully rested. So if you have taken notes during the semester, at the maximum 5 days before the test, you will need to study 4 hours a day. Uh, every day add half an hour, because you will have to repeat what you studied the previous day and study the additional material. The only thing that you will study, as I said, are your notes for that subject. Of course, I don't need to say that you will need to keep a different notebook for every subject at university. Not mix them, of course. Your notes need to be uh, not especially neat, but in a chronological order, and include all the information, everything that you could write that happened in class. So to study and really memorize what you are studying, read each bullet point, then underline a key phrase or repeat it. Uh, repeat the key phrase for that bullet point, and repeat what you read to yourself. Of course, it's important to um, repeat with your own words what you just read, because if you only read your notes, it's not so effective. But you read a part and say it, read a part and say it, read one bullet points that you have keep a notes in class, so 2 to 3 minutes, and say it with yourself. You can say it out loud if you are alone. And one thing that I like to do while studying is to keep my notebook in my hands and walk while studying the information. I read a part, then I walk by saying it with myself. It helps me a lot because I don't have to sit down to study. It doesn't seem like a boring, tiring job, but I can do it on the way while walking. If you can do it in nature, if you have a private part, of course, but you can go outside, that's good. But also in your home, you can study while walking. This is a very good tip that helps me to make studying easier. And hours pass by, and I study my notes almost effortlessly. So keep your notes on a relatively small notebook, which is easy to carry around if you want to study while walking. For example, a small one, this is a used one, like this, I can keep this, or even double this size because this is a small one to keep all your the material of your uh, class of all the semester in simply one notebook. Uh, as I said, I find it hard to sit on the desk, so I choose walking while studying. So start studying for a test 5 days before, and maybe the even in the test day if the test is later in the day. Then how to repeat the materials. So on day 2, you and other day 3, day 4, and day 5, you will repeat everything that you studied the previous days and also study the new chunk of material assigned to that day. So how to repeat what you studied the previous day? Read only the underlined keywords when you repeat the information the next day. Uh, I mentioned before that you need to underline keywords or phrases for each bullet point. Then just read the underlined parts as part of your revision. If you wrote the notes and the first underline, for example, with a pencil, uh, underline again with a pen. So read only the underlined parts, and from those parts, underline again with a, a pencil of another color, for example, or with a pen if you underlined first time with a pencil or with a highlighter, the most important parts of those keywords. This is done for the next day, so that the next day you just read the underlined parts that you underlined the previous day, and underline again from which parts, from those parts which are also the more important, and the next day do the same until you come up to the most important things that you will bring up to the other day to repeat them again. So for example, with the first underline, if the first underline is with pencil, the second day underline those uh, parts with pen, the most important from them with a pen. The third day underline with a red pen, for example, read only the underlined parts, and uh, from them which is more important, underline them with red. Or fourth day, underline with a yellow highlighter. Fifth day with another color highlighter, so that you uh, determine the most important of the most important parts. And those are the things that you really need to remember. So every day read only what you've underlined the previous day and underline the most important from what you've read. Uh, these were the tips for studying, and another tip before I close this video is a tip for test taking to show really your professors that you um are a good student, you have studied the material, is that when you take the test to write the answers in bullet points for open questions. So this will show the professor that you have the big picture in mind, you have understood that topic of what you're writing about, and you're not just writing about randomly big text that you can remember just from the fog of your memory, one thing here and one thing there. But when you write in bullet points, it shows more organization in your thought that you really know the material and you know the big picture. Um, that, of course, is from your memory of your notes. While some students write, for example, one part really detailed that they have studied, and towards the last part of that topic, they don't have time to write it or it's really, really confusing. But if you write with bullet points, uh, from what you remember, the same bullet points that you took from your notes and the same words that the professor used while teaching the material, it will show that you really, really understand the topic and most often give you full points for this. So these are the tips. I hope you understand now my system of easy studying, which is based on studying only the notes because I like it easy. I like studying. I don't like really reading long textbooks because the spoken language is easier and I'm a really good note taker. So that's all for this video. I hope this was helpful for you. And of course, if you have any questions or comments you want to share how you study for tests, you can share them in the comment sections below. Thank you.